Pops World, what's going on? I have my friend Diego here with me, and from the California area. I appreciate you for taking the time to come on here, man. It's my first time talking to you. Via video. We connected with each other via Instagram, man. But I appreciate you for just hopping on here, man, and just being open to sharing your story and who you are, and for me getting to know you for the first time. So I appreciate it, my man. Thank you for coming on here, bro.
Well, thanks to you, man. I'm really grateful for this opportunity and just
Yeah,
to kind of share my story a little bit more,
yeah,
learn
for
about
sure.
you as well. So super
Yeah, no,
excited for this, man.
I appreciate it, man. Again, like I said, when we met, man, it was through the social media platform. You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful that we actually. And you're in California, right?
hmm
Yeah, you're in California. I'm in PA, so it's actually pretty cool to connect with people in different parts of the world. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
being as though this is something that we were able to come together and do, I appreciate it. So, so who is Diego, man? Who, like, where are you from? Where's your background come from?
Yeah, so I'm originally from this small town called Mead Valley in
Hmm.
Riverside, California, which is like
Okay.
south of LA and north of San Diego, somewhere
Okay.
right in between. Um, Grew up in like a rural type town. Some of the
Mhm.
roads were still dirt.
Yeah.
Um, So there wasn't much to do outside of just hanging out with your friends, right, and exploring, like riding bikes and whatnot.
Hmm.
But I think those childhood years really taught me the importance of like building strong connections with people in your community, right, and
Yeah.
learning about people through their experiences.
Right.
Um, my parents are immigrants from Mexico, so I guess that kind of contributes to my outlook and perspective on life, right? Because
Yeah.
being born here, growing up over there each summer, you
Hmm.
kind of have to shape your identity through your environment. And I was constantly in two different environments, right? I was
Hmm.
in Mexico. Being born here, I'm not Mexican enough.
Hmm.
Here in the US, I also had to prove that I'm Mexican because I'm like,
Hmm.
I don't really look it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or traditionally, I guess you can say, because we come in all colors. But those experiences, I guess, question your identity, and you're constantly looking
Yeah.
for who you are, why you are the way you are, and you just ask yourself all these questions. And I think those were really formative for my own experience in terms of personal development and self
Right.
growth, because I realized, you know what, if I'm not fitting in one place or another, I just have to make my own.
Yeah.
Um, and so I guess to answer that question, I mean, I'm a storyteller, a person dedicated to inspiring those around him to seek growth, right? Whether
Yeah.
it's in the gym or it's in their mindset or whatever they're feeding themselves in terms
Right.
mentally, physically. I want to
Yeah.
inspire people to develop as better people and
Yeah.
shed light on some of the mistakes I've made in my life to
Yeah.
hopefully, you know, save people the trouble that I went through.
I see that, man. I see one thing I've seen on your one thing I appreciate you for, and knowing you through Instagram is you're very versatile in your content creation in the sense of you don't just focus on the workouts, but you focus on the how can I put it? You focus on stuff outside of the gym, like life, like real life
Mm-hmm.
outside of the gym. So like I saw it was your other page. I think it's the Wolf. What is it? Wolf what?
Wolf Within.
Wolf Within. Yeah. So I saw that you had created that. And I started following it, and then I saw that you weren't so much on the fitness aspect. It was more so the mental aspect, and like how like the mental and the fitness and the physical come together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what for me that was kind of cool to see, man. Like what I'm saying, that like it's really it's not all just physical, you
Mm-hmm.
know. The push to the hardest part for a lot of people that God sisters ourselves realize is the hardest part is just getting up. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But the easiest part is once you're out the door, you're you're getting yourself ready to mentally go and put a beating on your body to put that work in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And even however you're feeling at that current moment before you get up, um just you talking yourself into like, all right, man, get up. You know, this is something you got to do, even though you don't feel like doing it. Like those are the best moments for you to actually like grow. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And get it done because it can be difficult, bro. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? The mental aspect can definitely keep you at a place where it can keep you stagnant. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? The mental is very powerful. So I just one thing I just want to point that out. I realized that you're versatile in bringing everything together. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Which is what I appreciate. You know what
Yeah,
I
well,
mean? Yeah.
thank you for recognizing it. I think that has been my goal, like from the start. Not like get stuck in one type of content where you're like just putting these hype videos out, or
Yeah.
you're just putting out fitness tips by
Yeah.
themselves. So I think for me, it's always been more the mindset side of things. Right,
Mhm.
the physical is one thing. I love being in shape. I love being able to like have the energy I have, be able to move the way I move.
Mhm.
But without the mindset, none of it really matters, right? Because if you have a great shape, like if you're in great shape, but your mindset is rotten, like that can only take you so far, right? A good
Yeah.
body does you no good if your
Yeah.
mindset is really struggling.
Yeah.
And that's what had actually gotten me in the gym in the first place. Is like
That was my next
kind of
question. Actually. Yeah.
jump into that one.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think it was like many people, a breakup, right? Where you need to rediscover yourself. You need to enlighten the man you are by like actually getting to work with yourself, right?
Mhm.
So broke up with my current girlfriend. We got back together. It's a full circle moment, but
Yeah.
back then it was because I needed to discover the man I was, right? Like not rely
Mhm.
on someone else to give me love and attention and fill my cup. I needed to learn how to do that for myself.
Yeah.
Um, so we broke up, and I kind of just focused on me. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to war with the man in the mirror. I'm gonna wake up, go to the gym, be consistent. Started reading the book Atomic Habits, and that book just kind of changed my perspective on how like small changes over time really add up. So I was
Mhm.
like, you know what? Maybe each gym session I'm not gonna have 150% effort, but as long as like I can put that 1% of growth in,
What
right?
matters?
Whether it's just that smallest little sliver of growth,
Yeah.
then I'm
Yeah.
happy with it. Um, and so 2 months in, I'm in the gym, like I'm finally seeing results. I'm loving the process, and my mindset has completely transformed from being like this, like almost victim mentality where I was like, why is life happening to me? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Why are
Right.
people seeing me that way? I started just owning it. I was like, you know what? I can't control what's outside of me. I can only control what's within. Um, and if I could really solidify my mindset, if I could really focus on just that 1% growth, then everything around me will eventually unfold as it should, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I don't know. It's just, I've been in love with the process ever since. Atomic
Yeah.
Habits, that was a really transformative book back then because it made me focus just on the small steps and not like
Yeah.
think in terms of if you're going to climb Mount Everest and you look at Mount Everest, you're going to be scared, right? You're going to be like, damn, this is a big mountain to climb. How am I
Yeah.
going to even get there?
Right.
But if you take that big goal, if you take that big process and break it down into the smallest little fractions, then you're
Yeah.
like, I could chip away at this and it's no
Mhm.
problem, right? It's like your biggest goals, your biggest dreams can all be broken down to the smallest fractions, and that's where you see
Mhm.
the most growth, right? And
Yeah.
so, in sum, it's just the breakup inspired me to become a better man for myself and those around me. Because prior to that, I think I was very much in like this victimhood state where I was like, why is the world not changing around me?
You became a man
And
when you was by yourself, bro.
mm-hmm,
You know what I'm saying? You
yeah,
became a man. You had to figure out life, man. That's what I heard. You had to figure out life. You know what I'm saying? And like I said before, like the mental part of ourselves can really take over, man. If you let it, you know what I'm saying? It really can take over, and it can make you feel like if you let those thoughts that you have in your head, continue to maneuver day in and day out, you really will not. You really will like that. Your mental will cripple you. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? And I feel like, from what I heard you say, um, within that time alone, bro, like you really like you tapped into another version of yourself for you to be like, all right, like I'm either going to sit here and let life happen to me, or I'm going to take life by the horns and just go and get it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I've realized, you know, the in order for you to tap into that, you have to. I've come to realize, and I don't mean to get all deep and anything like that, but like
Mm-hmm.
I believe in God and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to, you can't do this life by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you really have to like. There's people in your life for a reason. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you have family, you have friends for a reason. So you have to really like, it's like, all right, Lord, like, like you said earlier, like, I can only control what I can control.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm also going to do my best to not do my best. I'm going to trust, you that like, all right, like, I'm going to leave everything alone that I can't control and trust that it's going to get handled.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And control what I can control to the best of my ability in a responsible manner and allow myself to and see myself because I look at it as forward thinking, right? You have to see
Mm-hmm.
yourself like you have to visualize yourself overcoming whatever it is that had you in that victim mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying so like forward thinking and seeing yourself as like, all right, bro, like you know what I'm saying. Though you may feel this way today, see yourself conquering and being on top of that small little hump that was holding
Mm.
you back. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's major, bro. You know what I mean?
How how'd you develop that mindset?
Um, again, bro, seeing myself in a better way than I have before. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like not allowing myself to feel like I can't get anything done. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Growing up, I always put pressure on myself. Hold on one second, bro. Sorry about that. I gotta put my phone
Mm-hmm.
on do not disturb.
Mm-hmm.
So, do not disturb. There you go. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
Can can you hear me? Okay. Um, yeah. See, realizing that I'm capable of doing great things. You know what I'm saying, and not seeing myself as somebody who can't handle things that come their way.
Mm.
Because, like I said before, like I always put pressure on myself. You know what I'm saying? I always feel like I had to like be extra, do more. You know what I mean? But I've come to realize it's like, yo, man, like you can't do this by yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like you have to like the people who are around you and who are in your life are in your life for a reason. Um, don't feel like you have to put the world on your shoulders and solve everything. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because um, I have a sports background. You know what I'm saying? So, and my father would say all the time, man, like, yo, you can't win everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't put the team on your back all the time. But I will always put that pressure on myself. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And, I'll be 30 next year. You know what I'm saying? And where I'm at now is like, yo, man, you gotta realize, bro, like, like life is going to keep going, but you also have to understand how to just see yourself in the senses, see yourself in the way in which other people see you. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Mm.
feel like sometimes people can see us at a higher level than we see ourselves. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, that can be unfortunate sometimes because you can take away from yourself. And if you don't, like, you can kind of to a certain extent want and need that validation from those people because you're not choosing to see it for yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
You'll to a certain extent you start to rely on those people who say, yeah, man, like, you got it, you can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like they can tell you that all you want, but if you don't believe it yourself, it's like,
Yeah.
dang,
What's it
bro,
all worth? Yeah.
it's all worth, you know what I'm saying? So I just had to, like I said, being at the rightful age that I'm in now, 29, you just gotta to a certain extent, but you gotta see yourself. Choose. It's a choice. You have to choose to see yourself. Um, uh, in a way in which God sees you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like he sees you. He like to him you're big. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
For us in our mental thinking, sometimes we're small to ourselves. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So it's like I just had to come to learn to see myself as, and it's not easy every day to see yourself as that guy.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? As that, somebody who can, make a change and be better. But it's constant growth, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's constant growth. You gotta just constantly see and be that, like be like, yo, man, we got it. You know what I'm saying? Like take it one day
Yeah.
at a time. You know what I'm saying? For sure.
No, I love that. I think it's like easy to diminish our own light, right? It's
It
easy
is.
to be like, you know what, I'm not all that, or I
Yeah.
can't do that, or whatever negative emotion or thought that comes
Hmm.
through our brain, we attach so much worth to it when it's like
Yeah.
we just need to let those thoughts pass and
Hmm.
then fill them up with thoughts of more positivity where it's like I can accomplish that. I am of substance. I do add value to those around me. I do add value to myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like as young men, it's one of the biggest things we struggle with is like finding our worth, right? Because
Hmm.
in society, it's like there's a lot of these vanities where it's like women, cars, money, whatever. But that's not real substance. The real
Yeah.
substance is how you can impact yourself and your community around you.
Hmm.
But a lot of people, a lot of young men don't they get lost in the vanities and lose themselves through it.
Yeah.
But it's like your real worth is attached not in all that, but like in the impact you can make in other people's lives. They're not going to
Yeah.
remember the cars you were flexing. They're not going to remember the money. They're not going to remember all
Yeah.
that. They're going to remember how you made them feel. And if you made them
Yeah.
feel like crap, then that's the impact you leave.
Yeah.
Um, so it's always great to put that in perspective in the sense that, all right, as long as I'm giving value in the sense of like I'm walking in my light, I'm making other people's lives better,
Hmm.
then you know you're in the right path, right? And I think much like you mentioned, there is a higher power, right? Whether it's God, it's Yahweh, it's whoever it is for whoever, right? That sense of faith is going to help you walk a lot further than if you're
Yeah.
just walking alone, right? Most
Hmm.
people put this sense of belief that they are the greatest power, and it's like just look up, like we're
Can't do it by
really
yourself,
so
man.
small, like
Yeah.
and like once your faith wavers in yourself, then where are you gonna how are you gonna move forward, right? So it's always thinking there is a higher power, there is a higher purpose for my pain, there's a plan laid ahead of me, and as long as I'm like guiding myself or leading with the heart, then you can't go wrong, right? And I think what's funny about this holiday is like I was doing this run club right on Sunday,
Hmm.
and initially it was a couple homies were gonna join me. And it was maybe we meet people at the park, try to make this a bigger thing, right?
Hmm.
I didn't really market it well. I let like my energy get consumed in other places. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll figure that out later. And come to find out, I ended up just running alone Sunday. But I told myself that run, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna meet people. I'm gonna meet people. I'm gonna get out of my comfort zone. I'm just gonna find a way to just network, right? And do the run. I'm walking up the stairs to like record a promotional video, have
Hmm.
my drone, have my camera, I'll post it up, and I don't get a chance to like actually record any of that. Like I had set up the tripod, I set up my drone, and there was a big family that came by with a whole bunch of kids, and they saw the camera, they saw the drone, they were just curious, right? So like in that moment, I could have easily been like annoyed that they're kind of messing up my vibe here for the
Right.
video, but
Right.
I was like, these are kids. They're like my decisions are going to impact the way they see these situations in the future. So if I'm
Hmm.
like rude or if I'm hard, they're not going to want to approach people like that. They're not going to
Yeah.
want to be curious. They're not going to want to be like put in that situation where they might be like yelled at or whatever. So I was like, you know what, like they're here for a reason, right? This is a
Right.
park, it's an open space. Like I'm gonna make sure I'm warm, I'm gonna make sure my energy is correct so
Hmm.
that I don't impact these people in a negative way, right? So I had that conversation with them, just kind of showed them the drone. We did a little video together, had them like wave as I did like a pullback shot. And then right after that, these two guys from like the Caribbean, but like a French-owned Caribbean island or something like that. They
Mm-hmm.
came up and we chopped it up for a little bit. The guy was 33, and then he had his nephew who was 17. And we just talked about life. And I asked him for advice. I was like, what would you say like is the biggest lesson you've learned in life, right? He's like, you got to lead with your heart, and as long as you do that, you'll always be okay, no matter like what. Don't put
Mm-hmm.
pressure on anyone else's timing. Um, so it's funny that we come to this conversation where it's like having that faith, having that like sense of there's a higher calling for each and every one of us, as
Mm-hmm.
long as we're walking in that light, as long as we're leading with the heart, like this guy told me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the universe, God will put those signs in your life to remind you what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
He put
Yeah.
those kids in that moment to teach me
For a
patience,
reason.
to teach me
For a
like,
reason.
like let's build curiosity in the community. This is what it's all
Yeah.
for anyway. And
Yeah.
then he brought those two brothers that like just happened to be in San Diego for a weekend to kind of give me that like push and that like confidence boost that I needed in that moment as well.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
not easy, right? It's like you're starting something, you think your loved ones are going to be the ones right behind you, like pushing you left and right. But the reality is, like, if you're doing something that they haven't done, you can guarantee they're going to tell you to turn back and chase comfort. And it's not from a place of
It's not.
like malicious intent. It's like
Not at all. Not
you
at all.
just don't know, you know,
They
and
don't understand in that current moment.
right. So
Yeah.
in that sense, like, have you been able to like push past that, or how do you do that with building your podcast and pushing for a better you?
To be honest with you, man, and if I be honest with you, I almost talked myself out of doing this.
Hmm.
The reason why is because I put it to you like this, bro. And you see it every day. It's a million people doing this, bro. I tell this to myself all the time. And I tell this to people all the time. It's 1,000,001 people, billion people doing the same thing we're doing. It's 1 billion people making content, making fitness content. It's 1 billion people with podcasts. And for me, my intentions were to help people, right?
Hmm.
And we see the people on YouTube, the Joe Rogans, the Bradley Martins, and all them guys, bro. Like they started somewhere as well,
Hmm.
and they're at the however long they've been doing it, they started wherever they were, right? And they are where they are now. Um, but for me, it was I just said, all right, like Avery, like see, like it was. I almost talked myself out of it because it was like, yo, bro, like, I had to tell myself, like, bro, you do add value. Like,
Hmm.
stop feeling like you don't add value. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what this could do. Like, you don't know what this do. Multiple people are doing the same thing. Be yourself and like open the floor to give back in your own way. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And I had to tell myself, like, I prayed, like, all right, man, like God, like, I don't know what this is gonna do, but I'm just gonna do it. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? My first episode was in the car, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
I drove to the gym, called my boy, and I was nervous as I don't know what, man. I really didn't like the progression of editing that you see now was nowhere close. And I still
Hmm.
have more going to do, but it was me editing what I know, like how I know how to then. And it was just like, all right, bro, I'm gonna set the camera up in my car and let's talk. You know what I'm saying? The first episode was 8 minutes. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I go to the gym every day and work out. I make fitness content all the time. You know what I'm saying? But for me, it was like, all right, you're allowing people to see your fitness journey every day. You're posting your transformations. You're posting, your numbers. Are you getting better, getting stronger? Like, it's going to be a point where people are going to get sick and tired. Not get
Hmm.
tired of seeing that, but they're going to want to see more. Because
Substance.
ultimately, when you post a video or picture on the internet, it's everywhere at that point.
Hmm.
Everybody can see it. So for me, it was like, you do workout videos all the time, bro. Use your voice. Like, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, so for me, it was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? I'm comfortable talking to people who I know. You know what I'm saying? I'm comfortable having conversations with people who I talk to every day on the phone, in person. Like, that's no problem for me. But I had to tell myself, like, be confident in yourself to know that you can help people out, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And though it was hard for me to get to that point, I just had to pray myself into it. You know what I'm saying? It
Mm.
wasn't for me to. The only part that I could control, honestly, bro, was the steps that I took to do it.
Yeah.
So it was me. The first episode, it was me literally making a text message saying, "Hey, would you be open to coming to talk?" You know what I'm saying? Would you
Mm.
be open to sharing your story? At that point, be okay with a yes or a no. You know what I'm saying? I've always been the guy that be like, if I hear a no, if I hear a no, I don't, I suck. I'm not good enough, man. But I had to come to a place in myself where it's like, okay, if the first person you call is like, it don't go through, don't beat yourself up about it. You took a step and asked. You feel what
Mm.
I'm saying? You took a step and was like, all right, bro, like, would you want to do this? And if, whether it's a yes or a no, take it for what it is and make the best out
Yeah.
of that moment. If it's a no, on to the next. And
Yeah.
I struggled with that for a long time, bro. Like, I always worried about what people thought. And that's another reason why I was going to talk myself out of it, because I always crippled myself with
Mm.
the thought of worrying about what other people thought about me and what I was doing.
Mm.
I had to get to a point where it was like, respectfully, I could care less what anybody says. At the end of the day, my God is the only one who can judge me. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? You're there. You're just tuning in, and you can give your own opinion. Your opinion is not going to make me or break me. You know,
Mm.
and I mean that in the most respectful way. I had
Yeah.
because I crippled myself so much with realizing that, like, bro, like, what are they going to think if I do this? What are they going to think if I do that? Don't worry about it, man. Just try. You never know until you try.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You never know until you put yourself out there to be able to help somebody out. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? For me, it was just like, all right, just go. However, whatever opportunity the next person gets from this, all right, you did your job. You know what I'm saying? So for me, bro, it was just putting myself out the way, man, just allowing, me trusting God and being like, all right, Abe, like, you can do this. Like, stop putting
Yeah.
pressure on yourself and making it seem like you can't because you can. So yeah.
No, I love that, man. How many episodes are you in now?
So you're actually going to be episode 22.
Nice.
You're actually going to be episode 22. This is my first. You're going to be the first
Like remote?
video, for the first remote podcast episode. And when I had asked you when we connected the first time, I was like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but with people who I know, friends who I talk to from time to time, like every day, kind of get that. A lot of my friends are artistic, you know what I'm saying, in their
Mm.
own way, video, camera, you know what I'm saying, like photography. So for me, it's like, and I have to realize, like, if you can't do it, reach out. You know what I'm saying? The folks,
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? Understand that you have people who are willing to help. You know what I'm saying? So for
Yeah.
me, bro, it was just like, just go for it. Be just like I said, you're a good guy, man. So
Mm.
it was one of them things where it's just, I want to get to know this dude. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I see him all
Thank
the
you, man.
time. Yeah, no, for real, bro. I see you all the time. And though you're in another state, I see you all the time.
Mm.
With your content, I'm like, my man be working. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely making a change, man. So, yeah, bro. That's why I wanted to have you on here, man. But I have another
Yeah.
question as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so being as though that was the reason why you started in fitness, that situation, um, like, what was it? What kept you in it? Like, what kept you in this? Like,
Mm.
out of that situation, and like, was that your first time going into fitness, or like you already had an
Mm.
understanding of what fitness was like, or was it something that you just picked up to be like, all right, this is something I want to try, or I want to intensify it and get better with it.
Mm. No, great question. I think I've always been in athletics. Like growing up, I played baseball, and then in
Okay.
high school, I was in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I always stayed in relative good shape.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until that moment that I really took like fitness super serious in the sense that like kind of get addicted a little bit, right, to that
Yeah, it
feeling.
can be. Yeah.
Um, but what kept me going past, those first few months is realizing how much progress I had made in such a short time just within
Mm-hmm.
like committing myself to the journey. And
Yeah.
then I started just cutting out vices, right? Drinking, smoking, all these things, just cutting them out. And I
Mm-hmm.
noticed my results like triple 10x, because I was actually able to focus on my energy on that, not
Yeah.
just, recovering from a hangover or whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
just focusing on this, consuming podcasts like the Lewis House podcast, Alex Hermosi, a lot of these people that I listen to,
Mm-hmm.
and realizing like they got to where they're at because of the habits they've built, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I build strong habits right now, then it's unlikely, right, if you don't give up at least, that you won't make it there. Whether it happens 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 2 years from now, like that you can't put a time on because your timing is one thing and then God's, the universe is that's another, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you focus on just doing the work and showing up, then the results will come. And I think that's the same reason I've just been so consistent, right? Like working out, feeding my soul, feeding my brain with things that I know are going to push me even further
Mm-hmm.
and like elevate myself.
Yeah.
So it's just being addicted to the process. It's like
Yeah.
realizing that life isn't just a sprint, right? Like Nipsey says, it's a marathon and we
That's
just
on.
got to
Yeah.
stay in it.
It is, bro.
Um, and I think that's just the biggest motivator, right? Is knowing
Mm-hmm.
that as long as I'm pushing myself every day, I'm growing. And if you're not, I think the biggest fear I have that also drives me, right? Because it's one positive thing that drives me is like the dream life is like having these motivational speeches in front of thousands, whatever, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then being able to provide for my family and give them experiences that we didn't have growing up. All
Yeah.
that is a
Yeah.
driver, a blessing, right? It's like that positive, but then there's also the negative thing that pushes me too, in the sense that like there's a great way to put things in perspective when you're like feeling down, you're feeling low, or you're
Mm-hmm.
feeling unmotivated, or whatever the case is. You
Mm-hmm.
just imagine you're at the end of your life, right? You're on your deathbed, you're 80 something, 90, whatever, many years old, and you're in that deathbed. You have two feelings. You're either one, you're happy and fulfilled around your loved ones, whatever experiences, or you're full of remorse and regret.
Mm.
And like, I wish I had gone harder. I wish I had done this. I wish I had asked that girl out. I wish I had, like, whatever, fill in the blank, right? You're just
Mm-hmm.
full of that remorse and regret. And you've seen those people. I'm sure you've met those old folks that are like grumpy as hell. And you're like, damn, like, I do not want to turn out like that, right? Like,
Yeah.
why are they so mad? And it's
Mm-hmm.
because they live with all these unfulfilled dreams. They live with all these regrets. So you take that same person and then God shows them the life that they could have had when they pass, right? So now it's like they could have had this. This was what he had planned for you. This is the beautiful side. And like, obviously, it's the hard
Deep.
path.
Deep.
But then there's this side too, where it's like, this is where you ended up, right? Because you had those bad habits, because you were drinking every weekend, because you were partying, because you weren't putting your energy to something positive. So that is like my biggest driver too, right? It's like I use both. One day you'll wake up motivated because you're like, I want to make shit happen for my family. One day you'll be like not motivated, and you have to realize that like in the grand scheme of things, life flashes before our
That
eyes,
was me today, bro.
right?
I don't mean to cut you off, but that was me today. I didn't
Mm,
want to go to. I didn't want to go to the.
mm,
did not want to go to the gym today.
mm-hmm,
But I said it's cold outside.
mm,
Get up and go. Like you know what I'm saying.
mm-hmm,
Like come on, Avery, get up, bro. You know what I'm saying. I'm
mm-hmm,
started back on my program. You know what I'm saying. So it's like, all right, today's back day. Get up. You know what I'm saying. No
mm-hmm.
matter how you
How
feel, like
hard it is.
how hard it is, just get up. Like you know what I'm
Mm-hmm,
saying. I like Lord, I thank you for another day. Like once my feet touched the ground this morning, I'm like, all right, you good.
mm,
You,
yeah.
you like you went from laying down to sitting up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, bro, come on, let's
Let's
go.
go. Keep it pushing, right? I love
Yeah,
that, man. And that's the perspective you gotta have, where it's like even on the bad days you're gonna show up. And when you
mm-hmm.
put that in perspective, when you think of those scenarios, it makes the work not seem that bad because you're like, all right, like, yeah, this life that I chose isn't the easiest path, but
Mm-hmm.
I know the easy path where it ends up, and I
Yeah,
know like how people end up with all these regrets and all this pain and unresolved issues in their life. So I don't want to be like that. It makes
yeah,
the work seem a lot less hard because it's like, all right, I just have to show up. I just have to put in that rep. I just have to commit to
that's what
something
it
that's going to
is.
push me, you know? And I feel like most people are in love with the thought of a better them in the future,
Mm,
but they're not in love with the process. They don't
the
they don't
ugly
wake
part
up in there,
of
yeah,
yourself.
like
Mm-hmm.
the grind, right? It's like the sweat, the tears, the like pain that you actually have to face on this journey. But if life was easy, right? If everyone can achieve their dreams, would it even be like satisfying, right? Like think about that too, right?
You wouldn't
There's
have anything to appreciate.
no, you
You know what I'm
like
saying?
you had it
The
easy.
I've come to realize, man, you have to learn how to you have to like going throughout like life and everything, bro. You have to really learn to understand how to. I feel like sometimes we don't look at ourselves, bro.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like you have to uh, dissect yourself and understand why we think the way we think.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like, why do I do what I do? Like, what
mm,
triggered me to do this? Like, what triggered me to not to feel like I wasn't capable of doing that when it was really easy?
mm,
What was the reason why I didn't talk to that? What was the reason why I didn't ask that person if she was interested in working out or if he was interested in working out? Like,
mm,
I do it all the time, but that specific day, like what in my mental or what within myself made me feel like I wasn't capable that day? You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Certain things that I feel like we as us as people, like I feel like we sometimes we put the finger a lot. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, bro, like what did like why do you do what you do? You know what I'm saying? Like
mm,
talking to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if we start to understand ourselves in ways that aren't always good and start to not I would say not really not overlook that part, but if we kind of like take our time with that
mm,
and understand the ugly parts of ourselves, we'll understand how to go throughout our day and
mm,
be in relationships and converse with people better and
mm,
understand people, empathize with people. You know what I'm saying? Because
mm,
like if you dissect yourself and if it's something that you see in the other person that you do, you can kind of be like, all right, like you can understand, like, all right, this
mm,
person does I did the same thing. You know
mm,
what I'm saying? So I feel like understanding ourselves, bro, is something that's real important when it comes to this like process of this life and in our case fitness. You know what I'm saying? We
yeah,
have to understand that this whole fitness thing is bigger than just working out.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like it's more so it's like, okay, I think you touched on this earlier. We can physically be cool. Like we can physically be strong as I don't know what. Like we're a beast, bro. But how are you feeling spiritually and mentally? Like, you know what I'm
mm,
saying? How is that part of you? You know what I'm saying? Like we can easily
yeah,
like I've come to realize, bro, we can go to the gym and work out. You know what I'm saying? We got our physical work in for the day. But
mm,
when we leave the gym, how are we doing? If
mm,
are you good still? Or are you still like is it still like and I ain't gonna lie to you, I've had days like that, bro, where it's like, all right, I did my workout, but as soon as I walk out of those gym doors, it's like, dang, bro. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, all right,
yeah,
it's like, dang, man, like I gotta, but I've come to realize, man, you got to you have to be gracious with yourself. I talked about this on with my guy. Shout out to my guy Jake Wolf. I talked to him on episode 20, and he had mentioned something about grace, right?
mm,
I come to realize, man, we gotta give ourselves grace. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to stuff like that, like don't go like give yourself grace in the moment. Like don't feel like you gotta have it all together. You know what I'm saying? Like once you if you're not doing well, like outside of like the gym, like okay, like sit down with yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like write something down. Like, all right, guy, like, you know what I'm saying? What is it? Like talk to him. Like
Mm.
why like what's the reason why I'm here today? You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, bro. So yeah, man, it's bigger than just the working out. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? And
exactly.
you know, that's why, you know, also again I appreciate you for that as well for implementing that into your everyday content on the platform that you have. Um, another question: what actually got you into wanting to make fitness content and be that guy to be like, all right, like you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna take y'all through my process
Mm.
I'm gonna take y'all through my fitness journey. Like, what made you get into that?
Yeah, I think funny enough, initially it was just for me, right? So that first month of working out, I committed to the 1% growth mindset, right? And part of that was posting on my story, like
Mm-hmm.
the workout I was doing, or posting me at the gym, and then just putting 1% like on there as a caption. Or
Right.
in a way, it was me holding myself accountable to me, but also to the world, right? So if they see you in the gym every day on your story, then that's how people like describe you, right? It's a person that shows up. So
Mm-hmm.
I figured, you know what, if I'm putting it on my story, then people know that I'm going every day. And if I don't
Right.
put it, then it looks like I'm missing out or I didn't do it. And so I started documenting like that. And then I started just recording some of my workout videos just for myself, right? Like literally just taking the content and keeping it on Snapchat or whatever it was, just
Mm-hmm.
as memories to show myself like this is where I started, this is where I'm at
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was mainly just to keep track of the progress
Right.
and not lose sight of the mission.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think probably 2 years ago now, I was like, you know what? Maybe I could just put this on my page, right? And so I started posting on my initial Instagram, right? My personal one. Started
Mm-hmm.
putting all the workout videos, started putting a bit of everything, right? Because I was like, maybe I'll just grow this into my personal brand or whatever.
Yeah.
And I posted for a year straight on that account. Maybe got like 10, 15 followers, like outside of the folks that already been knowed me and all that.
Yeah.
Like it didn't really grow. And I realized it was because I was preaching to the wrong audience. Like those
Mm-hmm.
people knew me from different stages of my life. Some of them knew me from high school, some of them knew me from little kid, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
those,
Wow.
and some of them knew me from like my like party college years, like
Mm-hmm.
that. So like the
You were
Diego
in a new
that
stage
that
of life
lies
and
in
they
front
didn't
of
understand
them.
it.
Yeah, like the Diego they met is not the Diego that stands in front of them now, right? It's like
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
evolved, I've changed. I'm not
Yeah.
that young
Yeah.
man no more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I started to grow with Diego as a new page, right?
Mm-hmm.
Literally, probably a year ago today. I think it was around November when I opened the page.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so as soon as I started posting there, I saw a lot more traction because it was like your energy attracts the right people around you. And I think
Mm-hmm.
with the content, how do I want people to think of me or not just that, but like how do I want them to react to the video, right? I want them to
Mm-hmm.
either be not just motivated, but actually take what I say and implement it in their life. So I want to
Yeah.
inspire.
Yeah.
And then two, it also kind of became a game in the sense of like, how can I improve my content? How can I level up each time? How can I tell better stories? Um,
That's what it's about.
so it transformed from just tracking progress to now seeing myself as someone that creates not just any type of video, but like my motivational videos, my storytelling videos. Like,
So valuing yourself, bro.
yeah, it transformed, which is the beautiful thing, right? Because year
Mm-hmm.
two of creating content like this for my personal brand and like building the podcast out and all these things now is like,
Congratulations on that as well, too.
thank
I
you,
think
man.
did you just started?
Yeah, three
Yeah, I
weeks
saw you
ago.
started.
So I've been
I actually
dropping one
followed you
episode.
on. I followed you on there on Spotify as well.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah. Thank you,
yeah,
bro. Yeah, I
yeah,
took a page from your book, bro, in the sense that like just start small, start where you're at and learn the ropes as you go, right? Like
yeah.
Because I heard a stat that was kind of crazy where it's like, I don't know how many millions of people like put a podcast episode out, but like 80% of those people never post another one again. So it's like,
And
again, don't quote me on those numbers, but it's something crazy like that where it's like most people try one and then they just stop,
but I'm gonna be honest
you
with you.
know?
That's what I struggled with before. You feel what I'm
Mm,
saying? I had a problem with myself. You know what I'm saying? It was
mm,
it was the way I saw myself and what I was thinking about. Everybody else was gonna think about me. So
mm,
it was like this time around. Like I started. People don't know this, but I haven't. I started something back in 2016. Right? I was so
mm,
finicky with that thing. It was literally. It was so the other. So what I did before it was called. It was a fitness brand that
mm,
I right. And making a long story short, my father calls me when I was in high school. My father will call me Pop, right? He'd be like, "Hey, Pop, how
mm,
you?" So I took that and I used something. I used that acronym and tried to make it into something that could, me being an ex-athlete, not playing no more. Let me try to do something different. But I had the idea, but I didn't trust myself.
mm,
Looking back at it now, though I had the idea, it was an idea that I just wanted to try and test out, right?
mm,
But I didn't trust myself enough to do anything with the idea.
mm,
Though I did a good amount with it. You know what I'm saying? I
mm,
didn't trust myself enough, and I didn't trust God enough to be like, all right, man, like see me through this.
mm,
I did some stuff. I had workout fit camps and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I had clothing and everything like that. You know what I mean? But I was so in and out because I was like worried about other people and
mm,
what I thought they were saying. What I what I'm saying, where I thought like, okay, though I'm not the instant gratification was something that I felt like I needed.
mm.
And in all actuality, bro, it was just like, man, just go for it, bro. Like, dude, like you never know what it could be.
Yeah.
But this time around, outside of the working out and this idea that I came with to start the podcast, it was just like, okay, Avery, start it. Don't stop it though.
Mm,
Keep it going. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
And I feel like the older me or the younger me from back in the day would have worried and I felt like I would have been threatened by
mm,
everybody else who I see doing
yeah,
something with the podcast.
yeah,
But it was like that's them. Like do it in your own way, man. Like stop putting pressure on yourself like you can't get it done. I mean, this is just an idea that you came up with to help. You literally want to help people.
yeah.
It's like I feel like I was making it so much about me
You,
that I wasn't allowing myself to see the glory of it being happen for other people.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like now, it's like, and I that's why I brought up the point of you starting your. I commend you for that, bro. And don't I'm
mm,
telling you, like it's taking one day at a time. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? The fact you got started means that you're doing something right. You feel what I'm
yeah,
saying? So I just had to tell myself, like, forget what you think they're talking about, because, bro, you think about it, bro. Half the time when we do something and we like talk ourselves out of something, it's because people ain't saying nothing about us.
mm,
We just assume that they talking about something that we doing, or they not gonna tune in because we think that they may not like what we doing. You
mm,
don't know what they saying. They could love what you doing, bro. They could love the fact that you started this idea. We don't know that. You just
mm,
I feel like we assume so much, which
yeah.
we
And that's
assume.
that's all that negative energy just goes
Yeah,
into like instead of using that and allowing that energy to be used positively in the sense of like, let me just keep putting it out. Let me
yeah.
keep going. Let me put 100 episodes in the first year. Let me do this. Let me do that. We just
Mm-hmm.
be like, oh, it's not for me. This life isn't
We
for
stop
me. Like,
ourselves,
what are
bro.
people? Yeah, and we don't
We
even
get
give
in our
ourselves
own
a
way.
chance.
We
Yeah.
never give ourselves a chance, man. We always. It's like, how can I put it, man? We can be our own devil.
Mm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how you got the good angel and the devil on our shoulder, man. Half the time people say, it's the devil. And no, man, half the time we in our own way. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not like can't it's sometimes in life, man, where yeah, like, you know, the devil will try to come and bring stuff on you, but bro, like half the time, a lot of the times it's us stepping in
Mm-hmm.
our own way. And it's literally, I'm right here, it's literally another me, right?
Yeah.
So worried about what can't get done. And I'm sitting there conversing with him,
Mm.
arguing with him, like, yo, man, like, you know what I'm saying? Like mentally, arguing with myself, feeling like
Mm.
I can easily get around you by just pushing you to the side and seeing myself in another way. But instead, that negative thought person of myself is right here. I'm sitting there conversing with him,
Mm.
you know, and allowing him to take me out of the game. I'm choosing
Mm.
that. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
choosing
Damn.
that because I'm putting energy in. I'm choosing that because I'm putting energy into it. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to. You don't have to choose that. And I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of the time, we choose to be our own enemy, bro.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. Like you don't have to be. Like
No, exactly.
there's no reason for you to be the one reason why you can't get something done.
Mm.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's
I've come to realize that, bro. Like we really get in our own way, and it's like the to be honest with you, if we just again, like you said earlier in the podcast, bro, in this episode, can you mention controlling what you can't control? If we control, we can't control, and let God handle the rest, we'll be fine.
yeah.
Controlling what we can't control. I feel like sometimes we worried about trying to control the hard stuff.
Mm.
Like if you just trust that the hard stuff will get handled and not worry about it, and focus on what you focusing on what is meant to be focused on and being present in the moment, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You trust. But also in the process, you trusting, you have to do the work
Yeah.
for that to see come through. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, bro? So yeah,
No, I
yeah,
love that, man.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Um,
Heck yeah.
another question I have, man. So being as where you are now, right, within your fitness, content and everything like that, you just stepping into a whole nother world of like podcasting and everything like that, and elevating your fitness journey and your walk of just like helping others. Like, what's the one thing that you has been a struggle for you, and what's the other part that you're like, all right, like I'm good, like if that question makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you feel like
Yeah.
was holding you back, but what do you also feel like is like, all right, I'm gonna keep going. You know what I'm saying?
I think the biggest obstacle is just like usually it's just starting something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as you start it, if you're committed to just 1% growth, then it makes the process a lot easier, right? Because it's like
Yeah,
episode one isn't going to be as good as episode 100.
yeah,
And I just have to learn from episode 1 to 100, and I'll get there.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um, Initially, though, the roadblock was like, how am I going to fit it into my schedule? You know,
mm-hmm.
because I feel like I'm always trying to do the most.
Yeah,
And I work at a coffee shop full time while also doing coaching and putting out content and going to the gym and all this. So like my time is limited in that
mm-hmm.
regard. So I was like, how am I gonna be able to fit this? And I was like, you know what? All right, I'll just start with under 10 minutes each solo episodes, right? Where I'm just talking about a specific subject and I give my background, my 2 cents on it, and then
Mm-hmm.
eventually start adding like these interviews into the podcast where I'm getting to know different people and I'm sharing their story, maybe 30,
Yeah,
40, 50 minutes.
yeah,
But like stepping into it slowly and
mm-hmm.
making sure I keep it going, right? Because like I know from this point to this time next year, if I've kept at it, there's no way that I'm still in the same place, right?
Yeah,
There's
for
so
sure,
much
bro.
growth and abundance to
For sure.
come.
Yeah.
I guess what has come naturally or what I'm enjoying about this process is like it's forcing me to refine my ideas in a sense of like
Mm.
if I can't describe it simply, then I don't understand it well enough. Um, and so I'll sit with these ideas, I'll journal, I'll meditate, I'll like I do funny activities where like maybe some people on the outside might think it's silly, but like if I'm in the sauna alone, I'll give like my motivational speeches. Like I haven't done it where it's full because I don't want to like be intrusive, you know, if like someone's in
Mhm.
there and I'm over here like preaching.
Yeah.
But like if it's empty, I just like meditate in there. I manifest. I think of a message and I start talking to myself. Like it might sound like I said, someone just walking by, it's crazy. But to me, it's like I'm really putting myself in that future state of like, how am I
Mhm.
going to deliver this speech? How am I going to pause here? How am I going to connect with the audience? How am I
Yeah.
actually going to make a difference? So I'll have those moments where I'm like, all right, I want to think about focus, for example. It was the last episode. What should I talk about? And then I just start going through ideas in my head and then I'll speak them out loud. On my jogs, I'll like really be thinking about the idea and refining it, right? I'm like, all right, maybe I can include this, include this, include this. So it's refining my storytelling process so that it's not just jumbled. And then two, I feel like more people will get to know who I am, not just in like the sense of my fitness content or
Mhm.
um, the hype. I'm a lot more than that, and I think the problem with short form content is that you can't let your color show. You can't show who you truly are, right? And for me, I feel like I don't know, like I'm pay per view television, baby. People
Let's
they
go.
gotta see all of me. You know what I
I
mean?
love that. On pay-per-view
Like
television, baby.
sometimes
But
I drop
that's
sometimes
good.
I
That's
drop
good.
gems, sometimes I just flop. But like the thing is, it's me. Like I'm raw. I like to be uncut. I like to be me. I don't like to like filter myself. And I feel like with short form, you just kind of have to keep it short. But I'm a funny person. I like cracking jokes. I shoot the shit with my friends. Like I'm not as polished as people can see on the outside, right? It's like this, like, oh, he really takes his time on everything, but it's like I'm raw, I'm authentic. If you're around me, you can see like I speak my mind. You know, I'm not someone to be like shy about who I am. That's what we are missing in life, right? Is authenticity. Is we got all these copycats. We got people just praying like clicking copy and just paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. But like what I'm enjoying about the podcast, what I'm enjoying about this is that I get to show myself. I get to really be creative. I get to step into my own light and show
Mhm.
people how I'm not just one dimensional. I'm just
Yeah.
we all got different layers and we got to be able to
To
peel it back,
ourselves.
right? That's what the podcast does, right? Like it over time, you're like peeling back the layers of an onion in the sense that like
Yeah.
one layer, two layer, three layer.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's the blessing of this journey, and then the curse is just being able to find the time.
Yeah.
But you know, eventually, God willing, like there will be a team where it's like, all right, I shoot the videos, they edit, do all these things,
That's
because
yep.
you know that's the dream.
No, for sure. I'll be honest with you, bro. Man, I don't know you. This is my first
Mm,
time meeting you. I feel like a year or two ago, or probably like 3 years ago, bro, I wouldn't have the confidence I have now
mm,
to hold this conversation with you.
mm. Damn, that's awesome,
Being
man.
as though I
Growth.
don't, being as though I don't know you. You feel
Mm,
like, and I feel like like a couple years ago, I probably would be like, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I would probably
mm,
like feel like, oh, this guy's another state. I mean, he doing
mm,
his thing. Like I would get in the way of myself and feel
mm,
inferior and feel like, what can I offer this dude?
mm,
He in a whole other state. He doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? He doing all this stuff. Like, what can I like? What gems can I get from him? What can I like? What could I get? Like good stuff can I give him, or what can I like? You know what I'm saying?
mm,
I feel like I would talk myself out of having this conversation, but I feel like I said before, just choosing to see myself better than what I have
mm,
has allowed me to be able to be like, all right, stay in the conversation and talk about it, bro.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? That's like you
Yeah.
said, you peeling back the layers. So I feel like for me, within this journey, I just been peeling back the layers of myself, bro.
Mm.
Staying in my
That's
downtime.
beautiful.
Now, for real, man, I like, and I'm not saying I could not intellectually hold a conversation, right? That wouldn't be a problem. But like holding a conversation with somebody who I don't know and
Mm.
being confident within myself to ask questions, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
of this caliber and answer questions that are being asked of me. I
Mm.
don't feel like I feel like it would be hard for me to, and I can admit that, bro. Like I feel like
Yeah,
it would be
yeah.
hard for me a couple years ago to have
Do that.
to look at somebody else in another state who's doing the same thing and feel intimidated.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm keeping a buck with you. I'm being
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
that's the true testament of growth, bro. And I think like
Yeah.
one thing to something I've just forgot to bring up is like what you're doing now, interviewing all these people. That's just gonna like polish your skills, right? It's gonna be
Mhm.
able to. You're gonna think of all these questions. You're gonna think of how to respond and answer. For
There you go.
like, stop recording. Give me a second. Okay, so like back in the pandemic, I started this project called Local Grown Stories, right? Where
Mhm.
back then I was teaching fourth grade in Denver, and then the pandemic brought me back to San Diego, back to Cali.
Mhm.
Got to like kind of reunite with my boys from college, and I had a lot of downtime. I had a lot of time to think about what I wanted, why I wanted, and just be super reflective on my goals and ambition, right? So I started thinking like, what am I actually passionate about? What is my purpose? What is my calling? All these big questions that flow through our head every day.
Mhm.
But I was like, one, I love storytelling and connecting with different people. And then two, I love local businesses. Like I like to go support a mom and pop coffee shop or a mom and pop restaurant just because like I want something different and I want to support someone who's out there
Right.
getting it, right? For themselves, for their family or
Mhm.
whatever, right? And so those two things together, I realized, you know what, all these businesses are
Mhm.
closing, right? Because
Mhm.
of the pandemic. So maybe there's a way to get out there and go show support so that they can like their voice
Right.
can be heard. Started Local Grown Stories, started interviewing people. Literally, like as soon as the pandemic started, I think two
Mhm.
months in, so in June or in May, we were already interviewing people. Um, that instance taught me the power of just taking action and getting to know different people,
Mhm.
right? I feel like my experience through the pandemic is very different than most people because I was still getting out there and I was still getting to know people,
Mhm.
which was a blessing because a lot of people were just stuck at home, right? Well, once or twice a week, I was meeting two different people. So like
Mhm.
every week, by the time I was like done with the project, I had already interviewed over 100 business owners. And one
Right.
thing I really regret about that is like I wish back then in 2020 I was recording video like I am now. Back then I wasn't. I wish I had a camera. I wish I had these things set in place so that I could go back to all these different conversations. Because I guarantee that first interview versus the 100th was completely different in the sense that
Mhm.
like had experience, had knowledge, and knew what type of questions to ask to get the
Right.
best answers.
Right.
Um, so I commend you for starting this journey because like through this process, you're gonna realize, oh, I could pick up on this habit, I could pick up on this, and just these little small tips and tricks that'll help guide the conversations. So like
Yeah. Yeah.
what you're doing is great because it's gonna help build you in so many different ways, not just in the sense that you're providing value for other people, but like selfishly, you're going to be able to take a lot of stuff with you. And that's what I did with Local Grown Stories. That's what I was missing. Was like, I'm not connecting with as many people as I was before through that project. How can
Mhm.
I bring that back? Well, Grow with Diego podcast, I could kind of bring it full circle and interview different people, different walks of life.
Yeah.
Um, so I commend you, man. This is super exciting. Like, you're
I
going to look
appreciate
back and
it,
you'll be
bro.
like, damn, like, look how far I've
Yeah.
made it. But that's
Yeah.
only going to come, right, if you stick through it. And
Yeah. And I told myself to do that, man. I told myself like, I know this stuff like this isn't easy. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? You know, it's a process day in and day out. You know, but as I said before, man, we can choose to give up. You have a
mm,
choice whether to stay in it or give up on yourself, man. And I told myself when I started this, bro, I said, man, just stay consistent. And I give a shout out to my mom, man, my mother.
mm,
She's always been the one to be like, be consistent, be consistent, be consistent. And I heard her, but I wasn't listening.
mm,
And I wasn't listening. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she say, like, be consistent. You know what I mean? And now I understand what the true meaning of consistency is. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? You know, not just even with this, bro, but just within life in general, different
mm,
relationships. Like, be consistent. Like, whatever that consistency looks like for you and that person, be consistent. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? Be
Yeah.
and one thing going back to episode 20, my boy Jake has said something about what I was he was meeting him that day was the first time I met him.
Mm,
And one thing he did was that I really didn't understand. I didn't pick up on it until he had did it. He brought two energy drinks to
mm,
um to the to set, you know what I'm saying, to where we were. And he said, as I was making an introduction, he said, wait, before you do anything, bro, he said, I wanna acknowledge the fact that you're on episode 20. And I didn't think
mm,
about it until he said something. I was like,
mm.
dang, bro, you really on episode 20? I ain't, bro, and I don't do well with people like acknowledging, you know,
Yeah,
certain
yeah,
things.
like giving you props like that.
Yeah, so I wasn't looking for that, but the fact that he allowed me to understand that being like taking them out of everything that's going on, right, out of this conversation, be present in the moment and see where you are now. You feel what I'm
Mm,
saying? And I realized in that moment, I'm like, dang, bro, like I appreciate you allowing me to see that being present sometimes, like
mm,
taking a moment out of your day to recognize and give yourself grace and being present is important. You know what I'm
mm-hmm,
saying? Because you again, if you if you don't go through certain things in life and everything is easy, you don't appreciate it.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? And just like you said, like you started your other project. Now you're bringing everything with Go with Diego full circle.
mm,
You're growing. You're growing. You know what I'm saying? Like
mm-hmm,
you had to go through that period to be like, okay, like I was here and I learned from that. I'm
mm-hmm.
here now. I know what to do. I'm better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying? I've learned that being present in the moment and giving yourself grace through the journey is very important. You know,
Yeah.
very important. I got I got one last question for you, my man.
Mm-hmm.
Or two. I say two. Where you are now, within your process of fitness and all that stuff, like, do you have any like I started a podcast as you just started. Like, do you have any other projects going on, or are you just like taking it one day at a time and allowing yourself to release certain things when you see fit for it to be released?
Mm. Yeah, honestly, for now, it's just the podcast
Mm-hmm.
because I really want to give that my all.
Yeah.
But eventually down the line, it'd be awesome to be rocking my own merch, right? Like,
Yeah.
even if it's just for myself, like the Grow with Diego
I'm be
logo,
honest with you, bro.
just
I'm waiting
represent, you
for it.
know?
I'm waiting for it. I'll be honest with you, bro. I'm
Thank
waiting
you,
for it.
bro.
I'm actually waiting for I was actually looking to see if you have merch for your Wolf channel, like your Wolf page.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, yo, is he gonna drop some merch, man, for that joint? Like, believe I'm telling you now, like, I'm like, yo, I need some gear from my bro. I don't know when he gonna
Yeah.
release it. Do you have a website for that?
No, not yet. So
Okay.
that's the one thing that I'm gonna like clear up too is the direction I want to go in and just be
Mm-hmm.
extremely focused with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think for now it's gonna be grow with Diego, just like fully hit that
Got
hard,
you.
and then with that brand maybe incorporate the wolf, right? I'm still getting
Yeah.
a logo made that I had like hired someone on Fiverr to make it for me, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
like the way it turned out.
Yeah.
Like kind of
Yeah.
incorporate Aztec and Mayan art with the wolf, I don't think they saw my vision. I sent them a couple pictures. I was like, I
Yeah,
combine these two things, and they didn't. So I might
and
have to
that's fine.
bust a
Take
trip to Mexico, bro, and like have a
Yeah,
real
remember
like native
that's the glory of the
person do it.
process, bro. Taking your time with
Yeah.
understanding, like, all right, the fact that you
Mm.
tried it, you didn't get what you wanted, but you still, you're like, all right, this didn't work. I'm gonna keep going. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Took the
Go
step.
back, go back to the drawing
Right.
board, see how you want
Yeah.
it to work out. You know what I'm saying? Make it shape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But um, are you currently training? Like, are you? I know you currently taking people like online clients right now.
Hmm. Yeah. So I've got a couple clients right now, help them lose weight, building those habits with them. So I'm still
Mm-hmm.
doing that. But I really do want to pour into this podcast and pursuing that because I feel like long term that's the biggest impact I can make, right,
Mm-hmm.
on a bigger level.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm gonna build the website for like Grow with Diego and then
Mm-hmm.
go from there. Just take it slow, step by step, build the audience, build the right community around me, and then with
Mm-hmm.
time I'll be like, all right, let's drop merch, let's drop this, let's drop that. But it'll come naturally, right? I feel like if I try to rush it, then the process is just
Yeah.
not going to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
It'll
I can
be
say the
more
same
like a
thing for
chore,
myself.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can say the same thing for myself, man. I'm I'm um I'm taking where I'm taking I'm being present in where I'm at now in this
Mm.
process. You know what I'm saying? I'm still making sure to go to the gym and do my other stuff, like, and making sure to, as you do, implement, you know, everything. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm.
I'm taking the process for what it is. I'm not expecting. I'm not like, oh man, I gotta no, bro. Like, be okay where you at right now.
Mm.
Stay consistent and keep going.
Yeah.
Eventually, the Lord will see you through whatever it is that He has for you a year or two from now. You'll get there.
We'll be there. Yeah.
Appreciate this point in time, this moment now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, so you are accepting you are accepting online clients right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, before I get into that, I'm gonna have you give all your information and everything like that. If you had to give anybody, in any profession of entrepreneurship, in anybody who has a passion for something, to get it started, or who's having a hard time with trying to figure out what it is that they want to do and what lane they want to take, what words of encouragement would you give that person to go?
For anyone, I guess let me take a second to
Mm-hmm.
collect my thoughts here. For anyone thinking of like starting something or just going for it,
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to really take a step back and think about why you haven't done it,
Yeah.
right? It's either
Yeah.
one, you're afraid of the opinions of others, or
Mm-hmm.
two, you're like afraid of failure and like doing hard things or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But thinking about those two, one, the opinions of others, like one day all the people that you know are they're all gonna die, right? Like we're all gonna die,
Yeah.
right? We're all gonna die
We
with
have our time.
dreams lived or dreams like not fulfilled.
100%.
So putting that into perspective, their opinion in the long run doesn't even matter because at
Mm-hmm.
some point they're not even gonna be here. And
Yeah.
then two, if you're afraid of failure, why are you afraid of failure, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
have you encountered failure in the past, or are you just avoiding it? And then learning that failure is just part of the process. If you
It's
can pick
temporary.
yourself back up, right? If you can dust
Mm-hmm.
yourself off after each failed attempt, then it's
Mm-hmm.
not a failure, it's a lesson because
Yeah.
now you know what not to do, right? I
Yeah.
think there's a quote by Thomas Edison, or I forget who said it, but it's like, I didn't fail. I just learned 100 ways not to do something, right? It's like
Mm.
that same process is critical to whatever you want to do in life.
Yeah.
So if you just go for it and if you commit to the learning process, knowing that you're not going to know everything right off the get, but like if you focus on that 1% growth every single day, it'll come easier each day. And you'll be like, oh, wow, I know how to do this now. Oh, wow, I know how to do this now. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't know something, don't be afraid to ask questions and actually put yourself in positions where you're not the smartest person in the room
Mm-hmm.
and you could really get to know other people's perspectives and their knowledge because that'll help jump leap your knowledge because there's only so much you can learn within a day, right? But
Yeah,
if you surround yourself with people that know more, then the sky's the limit, right? It's like
yeah,
finding your tribe, finding the people that are going to help you in these situations will help advance you so much faster. So it's
right.
going for it, just not thinking about the outside noise, and then 3, asking those around you for help if you need it.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I struggle with too. Is like I want to like sometimes I just want to carve my own path and I don't want to ask for help. But the reality is like you can't do it alone, right? And you
I've
have to
come
be
to
able
realize,
to
bro,
ask for
that
help.
that pride and that ego, man, is that pride and that ego is the devil. That thing
Mm,
will. I've come to understand that, man. Like that's one of the things that I also come to realize is like, put your pride aside. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know something, it's okay. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
If you know something, it's okay. Put that ego aside. You know what I'm saying? It's
mm-hmm.
a lot of times it's not worth it, bro. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Understand that there are everybody's learning, everybody's going through life. You know what I'm saying? Like don't feel like because you don't know something, you don't understand something, like you less than
Yeah.
like to compensate for that. You feel like you gotta, oh yeah, nah, bro, nah. You know what I'm saying? I come to understand like, you know, take the time you need to understand, ask, become. If you need to become a student, become a student.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So, man, I appreciated this, man. Before we go, bro, let them know what your Instagram is, and like all your platforms where everybody can find you. But let them know everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. No, thank you. On all platforms, grow with Diego. So
mhm.
YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Um, yeah, let's check out the content. Check out the Spotify podcast, Grow with Diego.
Cool. Okay,
Um,
cool, cool.
be interviewing people soon, and
So
get down to it. So
let's
thank
go,
you,
bro.
man.
Diego, listen, I appreciate. And what area are you in again?
San Diego,
San Diego,
Diego, and San
California.
Diego.
It's pretty cool for me, bro. This is my first time having somebody on the podcast who is in another state. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, that's cool, bro. That's really
It's
dope.
another accomplishment.
Yeah, it's
See, now
cool,
you
man.
know you could do them anywhere.
This is the first remote and the first out of state episode.
Mm-hmm.
So that I appreciate. I
Heck yeah.
appreciate you, man, for blessing the podcast with your presence, bro. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for taking the time out of your day to sit and talk to a lot of people to see who you are. Um, and the words I can give you, man, is to continue to stay 10 toes down and keep going. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm.
respect who you are, what you stand for, and everything that you're doing, to make the fitness community better. You know what I'm saying? In all aspects, not just within working out, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like you're one of the good guys who is. You can tell that you're authentic with doing it your way.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying, and being open to um, letting the people know who Diego is. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So for that, I appreciate you, man, and being somebody who's still going through the process of trying to make certain gains in the gym and also just life outside of the gym. I can
Mm.
appreciate you for like everything that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
keep going, man. Don't stop, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I wish nothing but much success for you. As you continue to grow and get better each and every day, my man. All right,
Thank you, brother. Likewise, and thanks for having me on. I'm super excited for what's to come for you too, bro. More
nah,
growth.
man, for sure. We get hey, and definitely trust me when I tell you, man. We're gonna keep in contact, man. And if there's any time where I'm out there, I've never been to Cali before, but
Now
if
you
I
have a
can get
reason
to
to.
if I can get to Cali, man, you the first person I'm calling to be like, yo, let's meet up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, bro. We'll get a workout in. Get some
For sure,
content.
for sure, definitely, man. I appreciate you, my guy.
Appreciate you, man. Have a great night or
All
day.
right,
I
for sure.
guess it's day over there. But yeah,
So
shoot.
what time is it now over here? It gotta be like 12 something over here.
Midday. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, 12 o'clock right here. So it's like 9 o'clock over there, right?
About to go
Yeah.
get this leg
Yeah.
workout.
I just actually got my back workout, man. So we good, bro. But
Let's go. Nice.
appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, bro. Much love. Have a
All
good
right,
day.
guys. Talk to you. All right.